All right, everyone. So as promised, I played a no limit and PLO mixed tournament that Josh convinced me to play. So let's get right into it. We are currently 18 handed and only 16 get paid, but I'm not trying to just min cash here. I'm trying to make a deep run. So when I get dealt the king queen offsuit being this short stacked, I just have to put everything in the middle. So that's what I do. Fold over to the small blind, who's the chip leader. He goes ahead and puts everything in the middle as well. Big blind quickly folds, and the small blind does turn over the ace king offsuit. So obviously going to need some help here. The flop comes out king 9-8 with 2 clubs, so still going to need some help in either a queen running straight or running flush. The turn does give us the gin card and a queen. Just got to fade an ace on the river, and river brings a 4. So we get lucky and double up here. Shortly after the previous hand, I looked down at ace 6 5-2 single suit in the small blind. The cutoff and button both limp. I do the same thing. Big blind checks, and we're going 4 ways to a flop. Flop comes down queen 4-3 with 2 diamonds. I check, big blind checks over to the cutoff, who bets 24K, folds to me, and at this point I have the perfect stack size just to go ahead and rip it in and see what happens. So that's what I do. Folds back to the cutoff, who ends up tanking a couple minutes. He asks me if I want to call, and I don't say anything out loud, of course, but just thinking in my head, I really don't care either way. I mean, even if he has bottom set, I still have a ton of equity. If he folds, then obviously that's a great result as well, just to get the blinds and his bet. So he does eventually fold, and we're going to take down a decent pot here. After losing a couple players, we're now in the money. Shortly after the bubble burst, a pretty interesting hand developed. Under the gun limped. Under the gun +1 has 235K. He puts everything in the middle. Folds back to me when I look down at the 2 black 10s. And a couple things I was thinking in the moment. The under the gun +1 shove is a little bit stronger for the fact that under the gun limped ahead of him. 2, pocket 10s is a hand that I would rather shove with. You know, calling off most of my chips here in what's most likely going to be at best a coin flip didn't seem too favorable of a situation for me. But definitely rusty with hold'em, so I'm curious to know what you guys would do in this situation. Do you go ahead and just shove, thinking he might do this with pocket 8s or pocket 9s, or do you fold and live to fight another day? Definitely let me know down in the comments. And I eventually folded, as you could have probably guessed. The under the gun player eventually folded as well, and under the gun +1 is going to take this one down. Within an orbit or two of the previous hand, I looked down at ace king king 3 rainbow in the cutoff. When it folds to me, I make it 45K. The button calls and the blinds fold, so we're going heads up to a flop. Flop comes down 9-5-2 with 2 clubs, and with just over a 1-to-1 SPR, I'm going to go with the hand here and bet full pot. She thinks a bit and makes the fold, so we pick up a decent pot here.
What's up, guys? Wayne back here with you. So just taking a quick second to go over a couple upcoming trips that Josh and I have planned. The first one is going to be next month. That's going to be at the Horseshoe Hammond, just outside of the Chicago area. That's for the WSOP circuit event. I'm going to put the information up top, but the PLO event is on the 3rd, and then the Limit 08, Limit Omaha 8 or better, is on the 4th. So if you guys are in or around the Chicago area, definitely stop by and say hi. Also, because we enjoyed our Florida trip so much, we're going to come back here for the next poker series, which is going to be in April from the 3rd through the 23rd is when the series runs. But we're going to be there from the 10th through the 17th. I'll also put a link down below in the description, and hoping to see you guys out there. So let's get back into the action.
We're now down to 11 players after a couple levels go by when I look down at ace king 10-2 single suit in the big blind. Folds to Joaquin, really cool guy. We ended up actually sitting next to each other and chatting a bit at the first table of the tournament. He makes it 60K, folds to me, and I make the call. So we're going heads up to a flop. Flop comes down 10-6-4 rainbow. I check. Joaquin now down bets to 50K. And thinking about the situation, honestly, I think all 3 options are in play. You can definitely fold, pick a better spot. You can shove with, some 2-pair outs, even if he has an overpair. Calling, I think, is the least favorite option of mine. Calling 50K just to hope to improve. I didn't really like that. So it was either fold or shove for me. Honestly, I think if the 6 was a 5, giving me a wheel draw to go along with my top pair, I probably would have went with it. But I ended up folding and deciding to pick a better spot. Joaquin ended up turning over pocket queens, and I asked him if he would have folded to a shove. He said absolutely not. If you had kings or aces there, good for you. So he's going to take this one down. We lose a couple of players, so we're now down to the final table. You can see everyone's stack. I am one of the shorter stacks here. The grayish purple chips are 5K and the blue chips are 25K. One of the first hands of the final table, the under the gun player puts everything in the middle for 130K. Folds over to me when I look down at the ace jack offsuit. I go ahead and put everything in the middle as well to isolate the short stack player. The big blind ends up folding, and we're going heads up against the under the gun player who shows pocket fives. Flop comes out king 4-3 rainbow. Turn gives us the help we need in a jack. River brings a 9, so we fade the 2 outer and eliminate the player in 9th place and get some much needed chips. This is the hand I wasn't involved in, but button shove, small blind shove, big blind called for less. You had ace king versus jacks versus queen 6. Flop comes out ace 8-4. Turn brings a king, river brings an 8, and the player in the big blind is going to triple up while the player on the button is eliminated in 8th place. Couple orbits later, look down at the 8-6 suited on the button. When it folds to me, I put everything in the middle. Folds to Joaquin in the big blind, who ends up tanking a bit before folding and turning over the ace deuce offsuit. So happy to take down the blinds here. Blinds are up now when I look down at the king jack offsuit and the hijack. When it folds to me, I make it 90, and only the small blind, whose name is Ethan, makes the call. So we're going heads up to a flop. Flop comes out queen 10-4 with 2 diamonds. When Ethan checks to me with an under 1.5 to 1 SPR, I go ahead and put everything in the middle, and Ethan quickly folds, so happy to take down another pot here. I go card dead for about 30 minutes. Blinds are now massive when I look down at king queen jack 9 single suit in the cutoff. When it folds to me, I pot it for 280. Folds to Ethan, who puts everything in the middle for 330 total, and of course I make the call. He turns over the ace king jack 10 single suited, so one of the worst hands I can be up against, and we're going heads up to a run out. Flop comes out ace queen 7 rainbow. Turn brings the 4 of hearts, now giving Ethan a backdoor flush draw. So gonna need some help here. River does not do it for us with the 3 of hearts, and Ethan's gonna double up, and we are down to under 2 big blinds. The very next hand, we look down at 10-9-7-6 single suited in the hijack. When it folds to me, I pretty much have to either pick this or one of the next 3 or 4 hands to go with. This hand seems as good as any, so I put everything in the middle. Over to the big blind, who only has to call 75K more when he's already in for 160. He does eventually make the call. He turns over the jack 9 4-4 with 3 clubs, and we're going heads up to a run out. The flop comes out about as good as it can possibly get with this hand, an ace 8-5 rainbow. Turn gives us the nut straight with a 7 of clubs, but my opponent now has a couple backdoor draws. The river brings in one of those backdoor draws with a 10 of diamonds. He rivers the nut straight, and we are unfortunately eliminated in 7th place.
What's up, guys? Wayne back here with you. So today I was in for 2 $200 bullets, 400 total, out for 750, so profit of 350. Definitely hoping to get a little bit deeper run, but happy with the plays I made. And if you haven't seen the previous episode, I'm gonna go ahead and link it up here. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.